Welcome to the TCG-Royals podcast. I'm John Moss, and today I'm joined by Aidan, who took a hiatus from last episode. Jesse Spencer was your replacement. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Good to be back. Yeah, I've been on a journey these past couple weeks. I ended up in some weird places. But yeah, I attended the Gdansk regionals. Didn't do amazing. Ended up going 5-3. Got some points. Got some packs. And then I flew my sorry ass home back to the States. And yeah, and we're here now. Wasn't able to make it back for the podcast last week. Feel a little bit under the weather. But yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. PlayCon was good. We didn't really go over that last time, but it was a super cool experience. Cool to meet all those people, and hopefully, definitely, we'll be able to get more Collecticons in the future. But yeah, how was Gdansk? Was it? Do you think it was kind of turned out how you thought it did with Tord reaching finals, losing to a
Glaze. The Glaze. Do you think I would? Dang, bro, the Glaze. First off, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think there is a decent amount of people that already knew Terapagos is a pretty good play going into this event. Took pretty many favorables across the board. Like some of the people I was talking to, like Michael Davidson, Caleb Rogerson, they like definitely knew Terapagos was like one of the moves. I decided to play Zard. My Zard deck was still pretty cool. I really leaned heavy into beating Control and like Thorns with Zard because I played a Cologne and a Revenge of Lecky, and I happen to hit 0. So I mean that's just how I go. Sometimes you don't hit your right matchups. Hit like 4 Reggie Dragos instead, which I cut mana fee from the deck because I didn't think you really needed it in order to beat it. I went 2-2 into Reggie Drago, 50% win rate. I hit some pretty good players on the deck as well, so definitely makes the matchup a little bit more tough, and if you have better pilots behind the deck. But yeah, Gdansk was beautiful. Poland's pretty cool. I'd go back there for sure. If I ever have the opportunity to. We'll see if it ever works again with my schedule, but first time going to Eastern Europe was pretty cool, pretty sweet.
Yeah, it sounds like you're bummed out that you didn't day 2, and you're kind of continuing your dry streak, but it sounds like you had to explore, which was fun.
Yeah. We all went out Sunday. Saw the old town. Went on the Ferris wheel. Got to see the entire city. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just coping a little bit, but hopefully we can get a better result here this weekend. Yeah, and I did hear that Collecticon in 2025 will be in San Antonio.
Yeah,
so
we'll definitely probably be there.
Yeah, we'll probably both be there. So,
unless there's a regional in Poland, then you might.
Yeah, no. Unless it's like an AIC or Worlds, where I'll try and be there. It's. I was just trying to catch a dub before LAIC, but instead I caught a pretty big L. But did put me up at like around 27th North America going into LAIC, so that's pretty sweet.
Definitely. So yeah, for the Gdansk, it's kind of old news now, but Raging Bolt still you're 15%, Lugia at 12, Rizzo at 8. Nothing crazy has changed. I do think Charizard is gonna drop drastically, but also I've been kind of hearing that Brazilians do love playing Charizard, and so they might kind of favor that pick. So maybe Charizard does stay up, even though it hasn't been performing quite as well. But definitely highlighting the Terapagos comeback and also Guardy. I think those two decks did pretty well. I don't know, are expected to do well. And yeah, the top 8 was super interesting with 2 Thorns, 2 Venettes, 2 Dragos, 1 Tord Reklev, and then a Control.
But Tord Reklev, we're not even saying the deck base play. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a really interesting top 8. Everyone was saying that it's a toxic top 8, toxic format, but I mean, it's just so happened that there were some Pokédads playing Thorns. One of them was a Pokédad. I think One of them was a Pokey Dad, and he made it the whole way playing Thorns. So congrats to let me go find his name real quick so I can shout him
I
out.
think it was Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
I
Yeah,
think he was
he's
British.
Dude is definitely the GOAT for making top 8. Steve Lawson, yep. He is the GOAT for sure. But yeah, Thorns obviously was a pretty good play to this event. I heard a lot of Lugias ran into them. Yeah, like they were attracted to the Lugias. Like I sat next to a Lugia that played the Thorns. I heard that like Rahul hit a Thorns on too. Like the Thorns were taking out the Lugias. They were eating early. And even the Reggie Drago matchup is pretty like okay, and they were beating Reggie Dragos as well. So, yeah, we are definitely seeing the inconsistency of the Dragos. I mean, obviously you see the repeated success of the Australian group playing the Drago in this tournament. Not as deep of finishes as Lil. But I mean, yeah, I guess the variants of Drago came back to them and cursed their day twos. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the only other there's two other huge things that we can note, and that is there is 2 Benet Guardies in top 8, which is pretty crazy. I think it more just goes to tell these players are very good pilots at the deck, being Magnus and Mateus. Mateus is like the Benet guy. He created the deck. So I attribute like most of the success to Mateus, but Magnus is obviously an amazing player. First world champion in 2018. So, I mean, I think both of them playing this deck, that's a pretty difficult deck to pilot, and has some pretty decent matchups across the board, is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I think the most surprising thing to me is that 2 Lost Box were able to dodge Dragos enough in order to hit the top 16 of this tournament.
That is true.
And I think Jack Blythe would have definitely made top 8 if he weren't to have lost to game 1 to Tord, because Tord was able to force the tie in game 3 and pretty much make it to where Tord was locked for top 8. Because he knew that he needed a tie. He could make top 8 even with a loss, so it didn't really matter in that position. But yeah, I mean, the Lost Box versus Sharapagos matchup is pretty favored for Lost Box, and even Tord himself. We were talking after the match, and he was like, yeah, he just drew past for like 6 or 7 turns. And he's like, well, that matchup's so scary, I would have just probably lost if he didn't do that. So, yeah, it definitely seems like Lost Box could have had a deeper finish at this tournament, but I mean, I see it very hard to see it winning with 2 Dragos in Top Cut, because that matchup is like absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I definitely think Gardevoir and Lost Box are kind of come back together after kind of seeing really no success, except for Davidson with top 8 or a second at Louisville. So I think that's kind of kept in, but people are they brush them off and they just keep on coming back. So it's definitely interesting to see if they really go through and like see a ton of them top 16, top 8 at the other side.
I think Gardevoir actually has some potential at like doing extremely well and showing up in big numbers this weekend. I don't think Lost Box will even be played that much. I don't think Evo does think that, like, realistically, because it's like such a polarizing matchup spread where like Guardy can literally be everything on paper. I don't think there's a single thing that Guardy just like loses to. There's stuff that's unfavored, but like if you get like a Gardevoir in play against like Palkia, I think you're pretty favored. Like Lost Box is a little unfavored, but like no one's gonna play Lost Box because it's gonna have Drago. And your Drago matchup is just like so good, I think, with Henry Chas exact 60. And he's put out a lot of information, especially his masterclass, of just explaining how to play that matchup. And I think if you were to have taken his masterclass, you definitely, and maybe you don't even have to take the masterclass, but he's definitely, he shows, him and his group showed on his little show match how the Drago matchup is definitely favorable.
I definitely think if you're gonna get a masterclass, I'd definitely get his. It seems like the most information possible.
Yeah,
for what I've seen. But yeah, I definitely think Guardy's gonna be. I think could like have a chance at winning the event. I think a lot of the good players are either playing Drago or Guardy, or maybe even Lost Box Trapagos. I think Lugia and Raging Bolt are like the kind of the secondary decks. I don't think a lot of good players are gonna be playing them. even though we'll see our like classic offenders of Lugia, probably stick to Lugia. But yeah, I think it's kind of all we can get from Gdansk. We're gonna head over to this special event that happened this weekend, with Jeremy taking it down with Palkia Dustnor. This top
Miller Killer.
this top 8 was really interesting. I think having no repeating decks except Terapagos, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I think there was the 7th place Terapagos by Tim Franklin playing the Regidrago, I believe. 1/1 Regidrago, which is pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's too good. It's definitely a closer. Interesting to see if people use the Regidrago or the 2/2 Pidgeot.
I think it's all right. Could get you Prime Catcher back. You can reuse your Prime Catcher. Reusing your Ace back is never bad. So I mean that could close out games if you're trying to be really aggressive. And you can even Thornton it out of nowhere and just like get your Prime Catcher back or do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes just like Dustnor isn't like good to pop, so you want to get another powerful Pokemon on your board, and Regidrago could do that. I do see an issue. The issue with the Regidrago, in my opinion, is that it kind of seems a little hard to move. I mean, he does play the one switch, but you have to make sure there's a way to move it if your opponent could just gust it up and just like let it sit there. Because it is a 3-year cheater, and not anything other than the Ursaluna in your deck is a 3-year cheater, but the Ursaluna can attack. So
Yeah,
definitely seems a little scary on that end. But it definitely seems really powerful come late game and come closing games.
yeah. Honestly, when I'm thinking about it, I almost like why not? I don't know, play Arceus. Like just grab the 2 cards that I need in my deck rather than like I don't know. Definitely an interesting concept, but
Yeah,
I think
but I'm an Arceus guy because I want to get aggressive in the early game. But like, I mean, I think
Terapagos mid late game is kind of Achilles heel. So
yeah, if you think the late game's the Achilles heel, then play the Drago. If you want to just make your early game super explosive, then play the Arceus. So maybe with Terapagos, Drago is the option. But yeah, I was gonna talk about the resurgence of Palkia Dusknoir and Jeremy Gamila's win this weekend in Buenos Aires. Yeah, this is definitely a really interesting list with 2 Lost Vacuum. Deciding to cut an Irida from the list for the Lost Vacuum. No Klefki, no research. Sorry, Ian. This is not how you would like to play this deck. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty solid. There's only a 1/1 Froakie Greninja line as well. I think he just opted to play the original like old list, but just minus like 1 or 2 cards. I don't know. Talk to me, John. What do you think about it?
I honestly haven't put much time into it. I've definitely seen some lists. It doesn't seem like the list has changed very much. Like you said, like 2 card difference probably. I think it's a solid deck. I don't know if it's gonna win LAIC. I don't think it's probably gonna make top 8. I think this is probably a kind of a fluke tournament, where maybe there's not enough rounds for this kind of deck to show its weakness. I'm curious what matchups he hit. I think in his tweet that he didn't drop a set, which is pretty cool.
He did not,
especially for winning a whole special event like that. But yeah, I think it's like nothing special. I think this deck is like kind of mid. I think it's good. It probably has its favorable matchups being Ring Greninja early. I think you just definitely have to play it perfect to maximize everything, and making mistakes in this deck could be really costly. I think it's a very unforgiving, especially 1/1 Greninja, as you said.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's like the deck is fine. It takes its good matchups, takes its bad matchups. I don't think the Drago matchup is very favorable. So I don't know if I'd really be playing this deck right now. I think it's mainly because none of the really good players were really piloting Drago this weekend in Buenos Aires. We saw a lot of good players opt to play like other stuff like Lost Fox or like Gardevoir with Matthias in top 8. I know he's a pretty well-known name in the LATAM region. Yeah, I think we saw like mainly a lot of decks that were not Regidrago being piloted by the top level players that were at the special event. So maybe I would just really let it room for this deck to shine, because I do not think the Regidrago matchup is very favorable at all. And like I do not think this is really like insane data. I mean, I think I don't really think that like people are gonna be like, oh, like let's sleeve up Reggie Drago after this, because like I think people like obviously people will. I think the people that are saying that or people that were most likely gonna be playing Reggie Drago this weekend anyway. So I don't think that there's really that much that will change because of these results. Like, you know that if you're playing Reggie Drago, you're at the will of your deck. Your deck is so powerful and it is the most powerful deck in the format. But you do take that unfavorable matchup to Raging Bolt, and you also just like lose to your deck a decent amount of the time. But yeah, you are playing the best deck. So
yeah, not knowing why it didn't make top 8. As you said, why do you think people were dropping it and playing their more experimental decks like Guardian and Lost Box?
My only conclusion to this is that maybe there's just not that many good players on the deck, or maybe they just got unfortunately unlucky because the only decks of the format that I can think of that have favorable matchups into Reggie Drago is the Gardevoir and Raging Bolt, and I think everything else is unfavored to maybe even into Reggie Drago. I don't think that there's anything else that really like has a good matchup to it, because it is just that powerful. Like it can beat the LAIC stalls. I mean, maybe it's unfavored against Thorns to 50-50. It depends if you have the Noctowl in your deck or not. But I really don't know why Reggie Drago wouldn't make top 8 of this tournament, especially with Terapagos and Palkia. Seems like a pretty decent matchup spread.
Yeah, definitely interesting. We don't have the meta percentages because they're written on napkins by someone's. I think dad was like doing the calculations of how much things. So we don't have that because it was pretty hard for me to even understand what was going on with that napkin. But I think the percentages were like pretty standard. I don't know if anything was like out of the ordinary with that, but yeah, I think probably just maybe there were just some unlucky, like the good players probably just hit like some weird matchups or something, some Raging Bolts and got hit out of top 8. But yeah, do you think like the meta will probably be pretty close to Gdansk with having Raging Bolt number 1?
Yeah,
what was number 2 for Gdansk? I think it was.
I see no reason for Raging Bolt yet to stay the number 1 deck. I mean, maybe the double vacuum tech. But like, I don't even think it like would scare people off of playing the deck. I think it's extremely solid going into this weekend. I think you should be playing 3 to maybe 4 copies of Bravery Charm, at least 3. I think at this point it is mandatory to play Bravery Charm in your Bolt list. But yeah, I mean, other than that, just streamline consistency. Let's just go big and hit big.
Yeah, I definitely think charms are pretty good right now, especially in Guardy.
Yeah, Gardevoir is also really good. I guess that's something else we could just talk about right now. But we saw Matthias. I'm assuming he's playing like a similar list to Henry Chow's list, because I think that is the best way to play Gardevoir right now. Gardevoir is a force for this tournament. I would not be surprised if we see multiple in the top 8 of LAIC. I'm that high on the deck. I think the deck is extremely powerful, has an extremely good matchup spread, and I think it is the best positioned deck going into this tournament. The only issue is that with Gardevoir, there's chances where you could just like open and you don't have like enough Ralts on your bench, so you just get bombed out of the game by like Palkia Dusknoir. The Dusknoir decks are definitely scary, but it doesn't mean that they're unfavored. I think Palkia Dusknoir may be unfavored, but it definitely feels like if you get a Gardevoir in play, you are probably winning the game. That's always been the thing with Gardevoir, is that if you're playing the game, you probably have a chance to win, and until you're not playing the game, well, once you start playing the game, you really just like have a chance at all times. So it definitely feels like one of those decks that will be played by a decent amount of top level players, and will have a very high chance to win the event.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good segue into our tier list. I think right now we have Guardian B, which is kind of crazy. I think it's maybe S tier in my opinion right now. Is
okay, well, yeah,
a good place to put it?
we'll go ahead and start. We'll do 2 different lists. We'll do one where we think of where we would put decks if we thought they like based on percentage and based on like how good we think the decks is. This is gonna be our power rankings, like our power rankings tier list. We'll start off with I think we're gonna start off with the obvious ones. We'll put Reggie Drago in S and Lugia in S. I think that's gonna be I think we just keep those there. I don't think either of us disagree. I would put Guardian to the front of A, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I don't know if it's S just because it hasn't got the placements that it needs to be S, right?
Yeah, it is not won an event this format. It hasn't proved itself. I mean, it's an amazing play this weekend, but I don't think it has proven itself. I think we could drop Block Lax a tier down as well, and I think we could drop Sarda down a tier down as well. I think that the A tier should slowly just be like Guardy, Terapagos, and Bolt. Put Palkia Dust North the
We put Lost Box A, or is Lost Box B?
No, I think if you're gonna take an auto loss to like one of the S tier decks, I don't think the deck could be an A. Like it has to, like you could put it B, and that's like very generous. I think that's like a very generous ranking for it. You like have to have a good tournament run. Like you're at the will of RK9 and Tom, essentially, if you're playing Lost Box. So, like you're pretty much just accepting like I am at the will of the pairings, and there's nothing I can do other than just sit across my opponent and hope they don't flip over a Drago V.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd put I think in order it'd be like Reggie Drago number 1. It's the big dog of the format. Not even close. Lugia number 2. It's also the big dog of the format for sure. And it just has an auto loss to a random niche deck, which people happen to like playing because they can just show up and play, and they're not even really playing. They're just kind of like just putting cards down.
Yeah, I definitely think if I was playing Lugia, I would not play the Fluttermane. I would just take the loss and not really just fight the loss.
Yeah. And then yeah, we have
I would say it's Guardy, Turtle, and Bolt probably. And A.
I think I put Bolt above Terapagos. I mean, I think one thing we didn't talk about in the Buenos Aires recap is that Giovanni is just killing it this season. That dude might just be the best Pokemon player this year. He just is. I guess like it's probably just undoubtable. Second to first in a second. So, and that dude's done it all with Terapagos. I think these like Turtle one, like I think it's just the players playing Terapagos at this point, because Tim's a very well known, pretty regional champion, pretty good player from Australia. Tord is the greatest Pokemon player in the modern era, and Giovanni is the best player of the 2025 season so far. And these are all people that have played Terapagos to success.
And then the Turtle bug, once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, I would probably put it like at the bottom of A. I think it's a really good deck. I think it's a really good play. I just don't think that there's something separating it from being an S tier and being below. I think that like it has probably the same chance to win LAIC as Raging Bull. I don't know if you're like in agreement or disagreement, because Raging Bull, whenever you flip heads on all your catchers, you play Bravery Charms, maybe you figure out some new technology that just makes some of your matchups better. Like I think that could be that. I wouldn't be surprised if Raging Bull won LAIC.
I think Galapagos probably has a higher odds just because higher skill players are on it. I know you like. I don't think Raging Bolt's going to miss top 8. I think someone's going to top 8. I don't know who. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just kind of for the deck to decide who top 8's. But I don't know. I think Turtle definitely has a higher chance of placing higher or winning the event than Raging Bolt.
That's not to say that the deck's better. It's more just to say that like the players playing the deck are better. I think.
Yeah.
Because like if we're going solely off the decks, I think if there's like a really good player playing Raging Bolt, then like I wouldn't be surprised if like Raging Bolt won the tournament. Like
Getamer won, so it's like
Getamer. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Manly and Getamer still pull up with Raging Bolt this weekend. I don't know. I don't think Azul is going, but I think the other two are going. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they just pulled up with Raging Bull again, figured out something that is new and unique, and just crush the tournament because it has such an awesome Drago matchup. The Lugia matchup's okay. I mean, maybe if they can figure out like they can play vacuums for Gardevoir, just try and crush Gardevoir or something. I mean, yeah, there's stuff that they could put in there that can make their bad matchups more favorable. But if you play stock, cut, and copy, I don't think it's that high of a chance because people just like manipulate the fact that like you can only take one prize a turn and you don't have a ton of utility. But I mean, I'm sure someone will figure something out and play Raging Bolt to high finish this weekend.
For sure.
So yeah, I think that's like our top 5. It's pretty solidified. What do you think is the 6th best deck in the format?
I think they all kind of like come to a blur for me, honestly. Like, cause like I probably think Lost Box, Blocklax. Like I kind of put like everything in B right now with Lost Box, Dragapult, Iron Thorns, Snorlax, and Charizard. I think that's like all equal. Like I couldn't honestly. I think probably the 2 stall decks are better than the other 3 decks I just listed.
I think honestly I would put Dragapult to the front of B.
I don't know. I don't super like it. I think it just like hasn't placed that well this season. I don't think people are really hyping it up.
It definitely has placed very well. I just don't know if it's if the deck's good. It's placed extremely well. It has, bro. It has. I mean, there's been one U.S. major.
Yeah, but so it placed well it won like a Japanese tournament, right?
No, it won. Well, no, it won Dortmund by a Japanese player in a regional that was pretty much the same player size as Louisville. Pretty close.
Yeah, I think it's fallen off. Maybe it's like it comes back, but
and they got second at Lille. And yeah, it has pretty decent showings. I mean, I think the deck itself is fairly solid and can like catch people off by surprise. But yeah, I mean, I could see it.
I think it's just slowly declined. I forgot that it kind of did that first and second, but.
So are you putting Zard at the front of B?
I would honestly put Snorlax.
Dude, I do not think Snorlax is him right now. I think it's okay. Like I think Snorlax losing to Lugia is not good. Snorlax can lose to Drago. Snorlax can lose to Terapagos. Snorlax loses to Guardy. I don't.
What I'm thinking of like that, like top 8. I definitely think Snorlax will top 8 out of those 5. Maybe Lost Box probably has a higher chance of top 8ing.
I think Palkia and Zard have the best 2 chances. If I were to say.
Oh, maybe I'm a hater on the Palkia deck. Maybe I'm a hater, but I don't think that'll.
Palkia and Zard are just the most complete decks out of these 4.
I think that's probably.
I think coming off the win, I think we gotta put Palkia at the front of me. Let's just do that because it just gotta win. It just gotta win.
That's fair.
We'll respect it. I could be convinced. We could put. I think Thorns is a better play than Lax right now. Call me crazy, but like I think Thorns is a significantly better play than.
Probably just because you see like less Charizard and more Lugia. Probably, yeah.
Well, it doesn't even matter. Charizard is like an auto.
Oh yeah.
It's like 100-0. Like you get even if they play a Cologne, it's pretty incredibly bad because every Thorns player plays like Devo now. So yeah, it's like an unlosable matchup. So I think Thorns beats Charizard, has an okay, pretty good Terapagos matchup to be honest. Has like an okay to maybe unfavored Palkia matchup because they have the Greninja. An okay Gardevoir matchup because they have Klefki, and you have like an okay Raging Bolt matchup. Auto win against Lugia and a pretty good Reggie Jago. So I mean, I don't see why.
Yeah,
not be playing that.
I forgot about having a Charizard. That's something I forgot about.
Actually, why don't we put Thorns to the front of B?
Are you that high on Thorns? That's crazy. You disrespect Palkia too. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I'll put Thorns. Thorns at the front of B. I got Thorns, then Palkia, then Charizard, then Lost Box, then I'll bump. And then Dragapult, and I'll bump Blocklax even down to C.
That's pretty good.
The more I talk about it, the more I do not like the deck.
I don't used to be high on it.
Actually, never mind. I'm gonna put let's put Charizard also down in C, and let's put Palkia Noctowl in B tier.
Okay.
Jet Pulp.
I'll hear you out.
Oh wait, hear me out. Jet Pulp is a deck. We probably should play a switch in there first off. They should play one switching card, because I did watch him lose a game because he had 7 cards in deck. He judged, and 2 of the last 3 cards were Jet Energies. He couldn't search them out with Noctowl. But we should definitely play a switch. But the deck is extremely strong. It's definitely one of the most scariest matchups for Drago, because they do have the Illumise and the Volbeat. Because the Volbeat, when they go first, they get to search for more Pokemon. The other one, or one of them says when you go first, search for more Pokemon. The other one says if you go second, shuffle one of your opponent's bench Pokemon in their deck. So you can just shuffle their Drago just straight up in their deck, which is pretty good, especially if they only have one Drago in play. And also this deck just like can take 6 prizes pretty quick against Drago. And not many other decks do it as good as this deck does. So I'm probably actually have this deck ahead of Dragapult. I also think this deck has a pretty good matchup in the Gardevoir. Obviously also has a good matchup in the Raging Bolt. And like, yeah, I mean, I think what Oscar said is that this deck is like extremely well positioned. He did a masterclass on it. Like, there's obviously ways to make different matchups better, but I think he cooked pretty hard. I mean, Palkia Noctowl with the Terapagos. I mean, you can hit 240 with Terapagos. Like, that has to be good against Reach.
Yeah, that's true.
And Thorns. So, has to have a good matchup against Thorns. Has a good matchup against Raging Bolt. And the Drago matchup's like okay, it's playable. So I mean, I don't see why this deck shouldn't be a B tier like the rest of them. It has pretty good matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we have a funny story with that of Brentimond. Into our U.S. regional. I think he was staying for us, staying in our room for the event. And he rolls up after not sleeping and traveling for like 15 hours or something like that. Shows up to the tournament with Hulk Noctowl and goes like 0-3, I think.
Yeah, I think that was more attributed to the lack of sleep than the deck, because I do think that he had the right idea. I mean, I think Oscar really just solidified it. I know Owen Karaman won the League Cup after going like X2-2 or something in the main event.
Yeah,
which was not very good. But yeah, it definitely saw success. It made some cash. Oscar got top 16 in the main event. Owen won the Gdansk League Cup. And yeah, I mean, I think it'll also see success this weekend in LAIC. I really only think this deck's extremely bad matchup is like Lost Box and maybe like Miraidon. So
yeah,
I don't really think that there's that many bad matchups, and it seems like it's in a pretty good spot. But they're probably better than Dragapult as well. So I have it in between like Lost Box and Dragapult and B tier.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be interesting to see if it has any good results this weekend, honestly. Because definitely if it doesn't do well in this format, I don't think it can do well in the next one. I don't really see a spot for it, so I think it's its last chance to do well.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think it's definitely solid. I think and then for the C tier, I have Snorlax, Zard, and Miraidon. I think Zard's a complete deck. Zard's a good deck. I just think it's horribly positioned in this meta. And I'll tell you why. Because I think the Gardevoir matchup, unless you play like Lost Vacuum or something, is like pretty bad. The Drago matchup is just like not good enough. I think it's just like a deck that just has okay matchups into a lot of things. I just don't think that the Drago matchup is good enough. And like, you could overtech for Blocklax and Thorns, but you are going to lose to Blocklax and Thorns if you don't play like Regieleki plus like stuff. So it definitely just, I mean, you could beat Blocklax with just a Cologne, I think. But then like, why are you playing the Cologne without the Regieleki? Because then you can just beat Thorns. So I don't know. I think you have to cut good cards in your deck in order to beat certain matchups that you just can't beat. And it just causes the deck to be like super thin. Which could be good, could be bad. Definitely causes your deck to be a little bit inconsistent. And I think it's just like not had a really good finish other than Bashalat's top 4 at Louisville. So, and then I think And I think the D tier, I would have Ancient Box as the best deck, and the D tier, the terrible tier. Definitely the deck that I'd play out of all the terrible decks. Not a good deck.
You would play Roaring Moon?
I love Roaring Moon, but no, it just does not have a good Reggie Drago matchup. Like, I think we've been over this. It's like, has a pretty good Gardevoir matchup. But yeah, Reggie Drago is just not it. We could actually put C-Pow into the D tier as well because it did get a couple placements in
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I don't know if there's any other decks. I think that the only decks that I have in D tier are Ancient Box, Roaring Moon, and Chien Pao.
You don't think Gimmighoul is up there?
We can put Goldengo. Goldengo deserves to be in D tier. My bad. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it was
to be reckoned with.
That's probably just like the tier list. I guess we could put the wall stall stuff in C as well, like the Ogerpon Noivern, Mimikyu, Quad Mimikyu. I think that could all be classified as like the Ogerpon Noivern. I just put that in C tier. Like that's just like wall stall. Like Cremascoli has played it, done well at like every regional. I think it's either him or his dad who's doing well with some janky control deck. Oh, and then we can also put Pidgeot Control in D tier. I think Pidgeot Control is horrible. So, if you're gonna play Control, just either play Wall, play Thorns, or play Lax. Like, do not play Pidgeot Control. It sucks. Too many people are playing their deck, and your deck is just like not good.
Yeah, I don't know if Control is gonna do exceptionally well. I actually don't see it going in the top 8 of LAIC. I just think maybe these decks are kind of like Tarpagos is playing a lot of anti-control stuff. Like a lot of decks are like building in anti-control stuff just because they've like kind of see a rise in it. Especially seeing that like top 8 Gdansk be much of control. So
I think if you can find a way for your deck to be control and also those cards to be impactful in other matchups, then people will just play those cards naturally. Because like they're good in other matchups and they are good against control. So I mean, yeah, I think it's just like a double thing. So like a double usage. So
definitely for sure.
I think the format has just become more harsh against control, and naturally because Lugia is such a good deck and Lugia uses 2 Luminions, most people are playing Spiritomb in their decks. Shut off that Luminion, Rotom, stuff like that, just so they don't get like bossed or Iona later in the game. They have less odds. They don't get to choose what supporter they're using at any point in the game.
Yeah, just super important for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what do you think? We'll have S tier as like the most played deck, and then A, and then B. Yeah, so
I think we could just go like top. We could go top. Let's go top 8, and then we could just put like what we think is like gonna be around the same percent. So I think Raging Bolt will be the number 1 most played deck, and it'll have like around 3% higher than like the next most played deck. I think we're probably both like keen on this one, like both like same wavelength on this one. I think Terapagos will be the second most played deck, which is a new thing. That will probably be new. I think Terapagos is just major on the rise. It's seen success at every single LATAM event because Giovanni is just a god, apparently. And he just does not miss finals at the LATAM events. Because he's played all of them and the finals has never not included him. So let's see if he, maybe LAIC. Yeah, maybe LAIC is the first LATAM event that Giovanni is not in the finals. We will see if that actually holds up. Because if Giovanni's in the finals of LAIC, I think we might just be calling this dude like, that might just be the hottest streak of Pokemon ever played all time. Like, I don't know about that. Because, like, dude, this dude is on a tear.
That is true. If he wins it, it'll probably be. Oh yeah.
Oh, if this dude wins it, then he's going down as like that is like better than Hedrick's streak. That's better than everyone's. Like I don't know who's better. Like that's better than towards back-to-back IC. Like 4 tournaments of finals in a row. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's like that's going crazy. I don't know if that's definitely not as. That's close to Jimmy. I don't know. I don't think I'd put him over Jimmy. Maybe give him like another regional first in a row. If he goes LAIC into the next regional first, then maybe I could be like, that's rivaling Jimmy. But I think Jimmy's in a league of his own whenever it comes to those 3 regional wins.
But yeah, I also think I put Lugia at 12% around there. I think Lugia and
Yeah.
Tropicos probably share the same.
I think they'll be the same. I think I put Drago there as well. Like I think it'd be like Lugia, Terapagos, Drago. Actually, I
think Drago's gonna be like 8 to 10.
Okay, wait, that's actually kind of an overreaction. The one I kind of like just didn't see Lugia. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, really? But no, I think we're just putting Lugia as the second most played deck, and then it'll be Terapagos. Like I think it has to just be Terapagos next, and then
Yeah, but I think
Drago.
they share like 12%. I think they maybe Tropicos and Drago's like 10.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. I think the next two most played decks though will be Charizard and Palkia. I don't know if we're in disagreement over that. And
Yeah.
I was with Dragon Ball in that tier as well.
Really? I don't believe in that.
You don't think Dragon Ball will be played? Dude, Dragon Ball's always hit like top. It's always been on the graphic every single event this season, this quarter. You think this is a really?
I think Gardevoir overtakes it, honestly.
No, I don't think so. Gardevoir has not been on the graphic in like any of the events.
But I think it starts its graphic.
I think we're just Henry Chow pilled right now.
Maybe
maybe he's just taking over like the world.
Maybe people haven't unlocked their knowledge of Gardevoir.
Well, like there's gonna be like maybe like sub like 200 Americans there.
People do love Guardy though.
Yeah, and like maybe like 50 Americans bring Guardy. So even if 50 Americans bring Guardy out of like the 2,000, that's like not a fair share. That's like that. Like even and like you're saying like 50 Europeans, 50 Americans. That's like 100 out of like. I mean like, that's like 5% still. I still think it'll be like, yeah. I don't know. Like I still have it like on the graphic, but like on the second graphic, but like it'll be like the 8th most played deck. I think.
Yeah. So now right now we have 5 or 6
7.
Or the 7th. You put the Guardy in the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be Raging Bolt. Then Lugia, Terapagos, and Regidrago will for sure make the graphic and probably be in the top 4 in any particular order. The next 6 and probably the first off the graphic will be Palkia, Charizard, and Dragapult. And then Gardevoir and Thorns will probably be the next 2 up there. And then I have some combination of Lost Box, Miraidon, Blocklax, and yeah, I think like that's it. Like I think it'd just be like probably gonna be pretty. Maybe Palkia Noctowl, like that could be like in the D tier of like.
I don't know if that'll ever be on the graphic. I don't know.
It will not, no, but like it is.
I know people know about it.
Yeah, I even think it's like gained that much popularity realistically. Yeah, I think this is like probably pretty solid. I think Lost Box will be played significantly less than Thorns and Guardy, but it will be played a little bit more than like Blocklax, but not by a lot. Miraidon, there's just not really a good reason to play Miraidon right now. But I think it'll be played probably maybe more than Lost Box, but it's same tier. Tier D would just be Lost Box, Miraidon, Lax. Tier B would be like, Tier B would be like, Guardy and Thorns. Or Tier C, my bad, would be Guardy and Thorns. Tier B would be Palkia, Charizard, and Dragapult. And then, yeah, we've already gone over Tier S and Tier A.
Yeah. Definitely, I think it's a good, solid
meta prediction.
For sure. And yeah, I think I'm really high on Turtle. That's what I'm gonna be playing for this weekend.
Yeah.
I've been playing with it. I went to Louisville with it. I'm feeling pretty confident. I was really excited when it did well because I kind of just hopped back on it. I was probably on either Lugia or Regidrago. I didn't want to play either of those decks, but I knew they're just the powerhouses that I probably had the best probability of doing good with. But once Turtle was back, I had to jump back onto the train. What are you thinking you're landing on? I know you've bounced around a couple times, but
yeah, I mean tested a lot of Gardevoir. Obviously tested a lot of Zard. I mean, Drago's like probably what a lot of like people that I know will land on. I think that's probably no secret. But yeah, maybe I play a secret deck. Maybe I bring some sauce.
Some sauce.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really know exactly what I'm playing right now, which is kind of crazy because the internationals is only a couple days away. We're about like 4 days out right now. But you know, I've tested a lot of decks in this format. I'm glad that it's at the end of the format rather than the beginning, because then there'd be a little bit more testing that needs to be done. But I've been playing this format the entire time. Been playing a lot of games, and I feel like no matter what I choose, I'll be pretty confident on my deck, and I'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think I'm excited for this weekend, and that'll lead us to our little game. Actually, we've came up with a name for it. It's Cash Clash.
After Clash,
Matt for that.
that's pretty sick.
So we have you pick these two out. Can you explain them?
Okay, so we have Eternatus VMAX, that's my baby. That is the deck that I took down the Charlotte Regionals with in 2023. So you know it has at least $5,000.
At least.
And we also have on the other side we have OOGX, which is a card that if you look at it today, you're like, bro, why is this card ever good? This card sucks. Like, it would definitely never be good ever today, and doesn't have a ridiculous effect, but it does do a lot of damage. And it has the attack Sacred Fire, which snipes 50, and it does 180 for 4 energies.
Yeah, the GX attack seems terrible. I don't remember this being a card, honestly. Like, I know in like GX era, I feel like this was like maybe like I think this was start of GX, so maybe it was like playing with like what's his name? Like the boost damage. I don't even know what fire. Because Charizard, Tag Team Charizard wasn't printed yet. I don't even know what.
It was played with Kiawe, like.
Yeah. So you just get like 4 energy on the field like first turn.
So actually, Takuya Yanida played it to Worlds in 2017, and finished 9th, and played Ho-Oh. This is like a very one-off deck. Played Ho-Oh GX with a Salazzle and Volcanion EX. So you could actually boost the damage with Ho-Oh.
Okay, yeah, Volcanion. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. And
that's Salazzle.
Kiawe.
Okay.
Yeah. You use Kiawe, which pretty much just says search your deck for 4 energy cards, 4 fire energy cards, attach them to one of your Pokemon, and then your turn ends. So really it's just instant charge, but instead of instant charge, you just attach 4, and then you pass. And then you just start going mayhem on the next turn.
Yeah, I think I played this format, like this deck. I remember playing Kauai. I don't know what deck I was playing it in. It had to be this one. I don't know if there's any other Kauai decks that were around. But yeah, I actually don't know because by the sounds of it, it sounds like it did good for like a format. I don't know if the deck sticks around
for a tournament. Yeah, it did good for a singular tournament. I will say that the cash is very close. Like, it is ridiculously close. How close?
That's interesting. Because I know some people that did well with the tournaments. I know someone that like got top 16th out there too at some previous events. And it was around versus like when VMAX was around, kind of at that like. There's a weird point when that was getting popularity because of Mew and like Lugia. I think it's probably Eternatus. I'll pick your boy just because I think he probably wasn't like just had some more random placements during a more like probably better era, and I think Oho probably just didn't do good enough. Maybe at Worlds he got a ton of money. I don't know. Which one is it?
You locked it in? Okay. So the answer is Ho-Oh GX with a whopping $10,500
Wow.
USD, and Eternatus VMAX has only won $9,250 at Pokemon tournaments in the West.
That's crazy. So I know like everyone who's ever done well with it. Crazy.
Which is insane. But like you also have I think you didn't mention, but Eternatus was mainly good and mainly saw play during the online era. So it was only really good
That's
like during like it didn't even really have many Players Cup finishes, so it was just like a meta deck. Like it was like a pretty heavily played meta deck during that time. We did have tournaments, so there was no cash prizing. Sure would have paid more if there was.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're looking at the person who has made more than 50% of all of the money that Eternatus VMAX has earned, and I played it to one tournament.
Yeah, you're the king Etern.
I guess I am. I didn't know I was that much of the king.
That's pretty crazy. Well, OG, was that mostly from Worlds?
Ho-Oh, yeah. Ho-Oh was like Ho-Oh earned like a lot of money at that Worlds. I think Ho-Oh made it only made like I think it only made like $4,000 that Worlds, but that's still like a little under 50% of the entire cash. It does have an IC top 8. I'm trying to see where the IC top 8 was from. Let me see if I can find it. It got top 8 at the Bremen Regionals. Yeah, I guess it just got it got top 8 at Hartford, Connecticut Regionals. And yeah,
interesting. So I guess Worlds just like has a lot more payout, especially for that. Also, but also this is the worst GX stack I've ever read in my life. This is just like Super Rod onto bench for 3.
No, it could like put like stage 2s and stuff.
No, but it's put one GX and EX. Or I guess some of the GXs were stage 2s.
Stage 2s, yeah.
I guess that's true, but I don't know if that deck was using any of that. I bet in that GX.
I don't know, maybe I don't know what the Fire GXs are, but like maybe there was a broken stage 2 and they could be used to this. But
maybe. It's just,
I mean, yeah,
underwhelming.
There's definitely worse GX attacks for sure. Like there gotta be, like, dude, I think we both played during this era. There has to be worse. Like I think there's some pretty bad ones.
There's some bad ones on like the bulk GXs, but that one's pretty bad for playable.
Yeah, that one's not amazing, but like it's not terrible.
Well, that was a good cash clash. Any ending notes? Assuming you're pretty excited for LAIC, hoping to end the dry streak.
Yeah, I think we're both pretty excited to travel to Brazil. I don't know if are you excited to travel to Brazil? Are you?
I'm not looking forward to the travel, but I think once I'm there and like able to see some of the homies and get to the venue, I'll be a lot more excited, especially to play the Toros.
Yeah, play the Turtles and maybe get some Brazilian steak. That'd be pretty sick. It's just like going over there is always pretty fun. It's a completely different environment than what we have back home. So same plugs, so we do not have to buy adapters, which is amazing. So we could bring our chargers and we don't have to worry about any of that shenanigans. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I heard from people that they started setting up the venue on today, actually, as we're recording this on Monday before the event. So this is like a huge time. Like they're setting up the venue almost a week like 5 days before the event happens. So
pretty nuts.
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty nuts. So hopefully it's a pretty cool event. Hopefully there's like a new little feeling about these ICs, and we can enjoy not having to go 5-2-1 to get.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
We didn't talk about that. I guess we can talk about this a little bit before we ended off here. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a nice tournament where we don't have to worry about getting ties or people wanting to get ties. because in upcoming tournaments, including Sacramento, starting at Sacramento actually, you can now make day 2 by attaining 2 less match points than originally at the start of the season, which does not fix the issue at all that people were complaining about, which is insane.
Yeah, I think like when they first initially announced that it's going to be basically a smaller day 2 because you need more match points, I was like, yes, this is good. Smaller day 2s are good, and like it makes day 2 kind of more of an achievement, and that's good. But now it's just going to be like day 2s are really easy, and just doing good at day 2s is like going to be people's goal now, which I think is
Well, now it just puts so much extreme more strain to even do better in day 1, I think.
Yeah.
Because like you have to have like an extreme record in day 1 because resistance carries over now. So the better you do in day 1, the better your resistance is going to be in day 2. Even if you lose, you're probably going to be more likely to bubble into cash unless your early round opponents were just terrible. And like it doesn't really even fix anything because like those people that go in at X21 have a pretty terrible odds to even make it to get cash, even if they win out, depending on what the bubble is for cash. But it just does not feel like it fixes any of our problem and any of the things that people were complaining about. Which is unfortunate because, I mean, it's cool to see that they're doing something, but it's not cool to see that like they have no idea how to actually fix their system.
Yeah. I think it's definitely they want to keep the rounds down because of just like it taking venue time. And I think trying to get better with that.
Teardown setup, streaming. They don't want to stream as long. But like the thing that you have to factor in is like with this asymmetric cut, we're taking just as much time as we did before, like with the old system. Like it takes so much time for people to deck check all the top 16 decks, then have top 16 play out. And even if it's more than 16-man asymmetric, then you have 2 rounds of asymmetric cut. And then there's even more time that you have to allot to asymmetric cut rather than just playing X more rounds and then just going back to the old system. I mean, I know that we wanted a new system. We were tired of having to go like such insane records just to make the top 8 and bubble out, and the bubbles were like tough. But I just do not think that they've somehow made their system worse.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a weird decision. I think a lot of people are not even gonna like it. Not even casual people are gonna super like it, just because then they're like, I saw a tweet by Alex Kaminsky that was like, we're gonna have people that like go 5-2-1 and then win out and be mad, and like not even like the average Joe doing that and getting mad, not even like the pros doing that and getting mad. It's gonna, I think, you're gonna have like people that were trying to like get an easier day 2, and then they're gonna realize what happens when you do that and then get mad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna cause for more people to think that they have a chance to do something in the tournament, and then they finish the tournament and they do everything that they can. Like, I think the point of a day 2 is that you should be able to continue in the tournament. Like,
yeah,
it's not just pity. Like, it's not people want to be there to have fun and play Pokemon and spirit of the game. And I mean, to some extent it is, but I mean, obviously we're spending our time and our money to try and earn something, win something. That's why it's competitive. I mean, there's casual, like people go to locals and do stuff like that casually for reasons. This is a competitive scene. It's supposed to be a competitive circuit. So we should have competitive rules. And most people in the tournament should want to win the tournament. So I feel like if you're making day 2 and you are mathematically eliminated from continuing on in the tournament, even if you win every single round possible from then on, what are you really playing in the tournament for? Other than, I guess, the money. But even if you're playing like for the money, like if I go in at 5-2-1 and I am like mathematically not even guaranteed to make money if I win all my games, then like why am I playing?
I think you're never. Are you probably ever mathematically like out from making money? Because top 32,
you actually can, because like, well, yeah, I think at Louisville X21 did not make top 32. Like there was one or two people that bubbled out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And like,
I'll say, like, if you have 9 rounds, we're going back to 7-2-1, right? And so that, like, I'm fine with that, but it definitely, if I'm down to 8 rounds,
yeah,
or 6-2-1.
6-2-1. But still, like, even with the 6-2-1, like, if we need like 2,000 or more players to go to that many rounds, and like at like San Antonio, which had like around 2,200 players, our day 2 was like, it was like 230 players. Like, we're gonna have like 250 player day 2s. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, there's gonna be almost 300 people in some day 2s, which is like going to be insanely ridiculous. And like, even if these people go like, there's only like 3 or 4 rounds, so like even if these people go like 4-0, they're gonna get like top 64 at best, and like not even sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I think if like, I could see it from a point of view is if you want top players and stuff like that to consistently do better, and if you lower the barrier entry to day 2, then better players have more games they can play. But I definitely think if you aren't able to make money, this doesn't make sense. And so I could see that, like, maybe Pokemon's trying to do that, of make it maybe like consistent players can be more consistent and it's easier in a day 2. But as you said, even if you win 4 games, you can still bubble out of money, which is kind of insane. I think they'll probably switch it back again mid-season because people will hate it even more than what they've already done so far. But yeah, I think that's all on it. I think Pokemon's going to change it back and or change something. But yeah,
they need to change something. If something needs to be done, I mean, like, if they're clearly showing, like, they changed this with the intent of trying to please the community. So if you really want to make the community happy, literally just make asymmetric lock to X2. Like, that's the only thing you have to do. If you just make asymmetric cut lock to X2, if like that is the only thing that needed to be fixed with the old system.
Or that's a lot of Pokemon, right?
Well, even if it is, it's just like X2 should not be a missing cut if you win out. And like, if you actually just wanna even do the system that you do right now, you could do the same thing, but extend money to top 64. Give top 64 500 USD. That would fix the solution. That would be the solution. Like, if you go 4-0 and you're X2-1, you get $500 cash. Like, that's pretty good to me. Like,
yeah, that payment must be people spips.
Yeah, I mean, it would help people travel out to these tournaments. So I think that's the solution. And you could make it. You could even you could even do like a kicker for like 1,000 something players, like 1,000 something players, and then top 64 gets $500 cash each.
That'd be definitely interesting. But yeah, I think it's a good place to end it off. Being mad at John Pokemon, but hopefully he'll come back this weekend and be happy because John Pokemon will give us a bunch of money for doing well at this upcoming international tournament.
Hopefully, we expect a TCG-Royals dub this weekend.
Hopefully. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see y'all later.
Yep. See you on the next one.